If you are looking to add some extra challenge and complexity to your Ugly Gryphon game, then this expansion set could be for you. My name is Marcus and this is Board Games and Chill. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play all 4 expansions of the Ugly Gryphon Inn that are all neatly packaged into this small wallet. The Ugly Gryphon expansion wallet contains 4 expansions: More Patrons, Local Dragons, Innployees, and the Little Beak Guesthouse. These can be played individually with the base game, or combined with the other expansions for an even greater challenge. The More Patrons expansion adds 3 more patrons to the patron deck and increases the win requirement by 1, so you now need to have 8 patrons in the inn at the end of the game instead of 7. These are the Crabby King, Werewolf, and Genie. These patrons can add additional difficulty with the Werewolf and Genie having all 3 quirks. The King, on the other hand, has no quirks, but instead has bar preferences for both food and water. He also has the particularly challenging quirk of irking the patron below him when he is in the top room, and he has to be played before the game ends, or you'll automatically lose. The Local Dragons expansion adds a dragon to your game who can get irked by patrons on leaving the inn. You have 3 dragons: Fury the Black, who is irked by fighting, Nostrillus the Red, who is irked by smell, and Sleepy the Grey, who is irked by noise. Each dragon has a standard difficulty and an elder difficulty on the back of the card. The dragon requires 3 matching quirks and the elder dragon only 2. This means you have to be much more selective or mindful of certain patrons leaving your inn. When you set up the game, select or randomly choose a dragon and place them next to the bar on the standard or elder side. During gameplay, whenever a patron leaves the inn, check their quirks: noise, smell, and fighting. If one of their quirks matches the dragon's irk, place them under the dragon instead of the discard pile. Count all the matching quirk symbols under the dragon. If the dragon has enough symbols, it will fly over the inn and burn it to the ground, causing you to immediately lose the game. The Employees expansion allows you to hire 3 different employees once the inn has at least 3 patrons, each with single-use abilities that can potentially turn the tides of a losing situation. The Night Manager allows you to add the next patron to any floor except top or bottom floors. The Scullery Maid allows you to rearrange 3 adjacent patrons in the inn before placing the next patron. The rearranged patrons have to be in a new position than previously. The Front Desk Cleric allows you to move an existing patron from the inn to the bottom of the patron deck before placing the next patron. During setup, shuffle the Employees into a face-down stack next to the patron deck. Once you have at least 3 patrons in the inn, you have the option of hiring a random employee during the bar phase once the bar has been refilled, but before the bar quirks have been checked. Draw an employee from the top of the employee deck. Check the bar quirks, including the Employees quirk. It is combined with the quirks of the patrons at the bar. Resolve any matching irks in the inn if a quirk appears 3 or more times. The Employee's ability must be resolved when the next patron is placed in the inn. Once the ability is resolved, discard the employee. You can only win the game if all 3 employees have been hired before the game ends, as well as having at least 7 patrons in the inn. The Little Beak Guesthouse expansion gives you access to a separate guesthouse next to the inn that can hold up to 3 patrons, provided that the patrons don't exceed 1 of each quirk. The guesthouse can be used to house problematic patrons for your inn. On top of that, 5 additional patrons have been added to the deck: the Jobless Assassin, the Pious Paladin, Boastful Bard, Distressed Druid, and the Ornery Oracle. During setup, place the Little Beak Guesthouse next to your inn. When a patron is added to the guesthouse, only check the inn irks of the guesthouse, starting from the 3rd floor and downwards. The main inn is not checked. Likewise, if a patron is added to the main inn, only check the inn irks of the inn and not the guesthouse. When resolving irks and effects from patrons leaving, the guesthouse is considered a separate inn from the main inn. During the bar phase, patrons staying at the guesthouse are not affected by bar quirks. Only the bar irks of patrons staying at the main inn are checked. In order to win the game, you must have filled the guesthouse with exactly 3 patrons, as well as having at least 7 patrons in the main inn. If you are looking to add more than 1 or all 4 expansions to your game, all win requirements must be satisfied. For example, playing with the More Patrons and Employees expansions requires all 3 employees to have been hired, and 8 patrons to be in the inn when the game ends in order to win. When playing with both the Employees and the Little Beak Guesthouse expansions together, it must be noted that the employees only interact with the main inn. After the employee is hired, you cannot place the next patron in the guesthouse. They have to be placed in the inn. And that's all of them. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing a full playthrough of the expansions, check out this video here. Other than that, thanks for watching.